Alex man. What does it say about Russia if their soldiers are surrendering for a hot meal? There is nothing more common than to find considerations of supply affecting the strategic lines of a campaign and a war. Karl von Clausevitz. Amateurs talk about tactics, but professionals study logistics. General Robert H. Barrow, USMC Commandant of the Marine Corps, noted in 1980. Russia spends $70 billion per year on its military. Compare that to the $700 billion the US spends per year. Now Russia's military is similarly sized, so how does it get by spending 1/10 the money for the same size military? Well, there are three main strategies Russia uses to cut corners. Rely on old outdated equipment. Rely on a large number of horribly underpaid, under-equipped, and poorly trained conscripts. Cut corners on logistics. The third one is the most important here. When it comes to cost, the most expensive part of any army is logistics. A gun, a uniform, some Kevlar, and other equipment is cheap. Imagine deploying 200,000 men, that's 600,000 meals per day plus water, ammo, and medical equipment. There are two big pieces to understand when trying to understand Russian logistics. They rely on trains. Russia has a large and advanced rail network. Makes sense given the size of Russia and how vast the frontier is. So Russia uses trains to move and supply its forces. The problem is that this only works in country. The first thing Ukraine did was cut the train rails going into Ukraine from Russia. This meant Russia can only get supplies to the border via train. From there, everything has to be loaded on trucks and driven to the front. To put it simply, Russia cut corners here. They don't have enough trucks, and resource convoys make easy targets. Ukrainian forces can easily hamper logistical efforts, and even if they didn't, Russia would struggle. They use a push-based system. There are two logistical frameworks armies use: push-based and pull-based. Push-based, this means central command controls the flow of supplies, and they send supplies out to units based on operation priority. Now, predicting supply use with large-scale wars is impossible, so this tends to lead to some units being oversupplied and others being undersupplied. Pull-based, this means soldiers and active units control resources. Units at the company level request needed supplies, and those orders are filled. This means resources are sent where they are actually needed as they are needed. So where does this leave Russia? Well, Russia is using conscripts on the front lines. As stated, these guys are underpaid, making $30 USD per month, and poorly trained. Since the Russian Central Command controls the flow of resources, it also means they are starving and stranded. Who is gonna get priority? Active professional units making a push on Kiev, or conscripts hundreds of miles away? Since Russian logistics systems are already at their breaking point, Russia couldn't supply their forces even if they used a different system. The Russian military is a paper tiger. 13.9K views. View 1112 upvotes.